Have you ever heard the bizarre tale of the Green Children of Woolpit? Imagine happening upon two children with striking green skin, speaking an unknown language, and dressed in strange garments. That's exactly what happened in 12th century England, when a farmer discovered a young boy and girl in a deep pit near the village of Woolpit. According to the girl, later known as Agnes, she and her brother hailed from a place called St. Martin's Land, where there was no trace of sunlight, and all the people had green skin like them. She described a world where food and drink were scarce, and everything was bathed in an eerie green hue. This otherworldly account has captivated researchers and historians for centuries, sparking theories about parallel universes and extraterrestrial origins. In 1150 AD, in England's Suffolk County, the farmer encountered an unusual sight: a boy and a girl crying in a deep pit near Woolpit village. As he approached, he noticed their blue eyes, green skin complexion, and strange clothing made of unfamiliar material, unavailable locally at that time. Their striking appearance and circumstances intrigued the villagers, as these kids seemed entirely out of place in that era and location. When the farmer first laid eyes on them, both children were trying to get out of the pit. In those days, farmers dug such pits in their fields to trap wolves that often destroyed crops, causing significant damage. They would cover the pits, allowing wolves or other animals to fall in while entering the fields. Initially scared by the sight of these peculiar children, the farmer eventually mustered the courage to try communicating with them. However, the children spoke in an unknown language, and neither party could understand the other. The farmer brought these frightened children to Richard de Calne, a wealthy landlord of the village. Richard de Calne took in the children and offered them food, but they refused to eat anything for many days. One day, when Richard's servant entered with green beans, the children became excited and devoured all the raw green beans. Puzzled by this behavior, Richard continued to care for them. For several months, these children only ate green beans and nothing else. Gradually, those children started learning English and started eating things other than green beans. But then one day, suddenly, the boy's health deteriorated a lot, and he passed away. By eating the remaining food items for a long time, the color of this girl's body started becoming like normal people. Now that girl had completely mingled with Richard and his family, and she had learned English to a great extent. They named this girl Agnes, and she started living as Richard's daughter. One day, Richard inquired about Agnes's past, where she lived, and her origins. What she revealed was difficult for him to believe. Agnes said the boy was her brother, and they lived in a place called St. Martin's Land, where there was no trace of sunlight, and all the people had green skin like them. They did not have as much food and drink as the people in this village, and everything there was green. When asked how they arrived, Agnes recounted that she and her brother were taking their animals out to graze when they suddenly heard the sound of bells. Intrigued, they followed the sound, but as they moved forward, it kept getting farther away. Then, a bright light appeared, scaring them. For a while, they couldn't see anything, and the next moment, they found themselves lying in that pit, distressed and crying until the farmer found them. Agnes said the sound was exactly like the bells of St. Edmund's Church. When questioned about churches in St. Martin's Land, she said they existed but were completely different from the ones here. Richard then asked if there was any other city nearby where they lived. Agnes replied that they could see lights from a distant city, but there was a very big river in between, so they didn't know much about that place or its people. Regarding the weather in St. Martin's Land, Agnes described it as very dry, with rocky plants and forests all around, but they could not see the moon and stars like here. Initially, Richard thought Agnes might be joking, but after repeatedly asking her the same questions over time, she consistently provided the same answers, convincing him of her sincerity. Agnes continued to work for Richard de Calne for many years before marrying the Archdeacon of Ely, Richard Barr. According to one report, the pair had at least one child. Agnes's story rapidly spread within her village and nearby areas, gaining immense popularity evident from references in many historical records. Ralph of Coggeshall's 12 and 20 document provides the first and most authentic account, including testimonies from villagers who met and spoke with Agnes. This document, containing eyewitness accounts, is regarded as the most authentic source of this widely circulated story. There was another historian, William of Newburgh, who also mentioned the story in his history book, History of English Affairs. From that time till today, this story of the Green Children has become so famous that there are signs of these children in the areas around Woolpit village. And so far, many researchers and historians have presented their own theories regarding the story. For example, Frank Edwards, who investigates paranormal events, claimed in his 1959 book, Stranger Than Science, that these children were not from this world at all, but they belonged to a parallel universe. The concept of a parallel universe suggests that just like our universe, another universe exists, and these children came from that realm. Robert Burton, a renowned English scholar, wrote in his book, The Anatomy of Melancholy, that these children came from either the planet Venus or Mars in our solar system. Another famous astrophysicist, Duncan Loonan, theorized that the children lived on a planet with the sun on one side and complete darkness on the other. He speculated about a vast ocean separating the bright and dark sides of this planet. According to these theories, those children were not from this world. Paul Harris, a researcher, theorized in his 1991 Fortean Times article that St. Martin's Land wasn't another world, but Fornham St. Martin near St. Edmunds, countering other theories. Paul's claim about two nearby areas contradicts Agnes's mention of a big river, as the 1611 map doesn't show one between them. Either Paul's theory or the map is inaccurate, but this oldest available map leaves ambiguity. According to Paul, the children's green skin color resulted from a poor diet at that time. But as their diet improved, Agnes's complexion became like normal humans. However, no research has proven that a lack of proper nutrition can turn human skin green. Paul's theory about isolated ancient people explaining language diversity fails to account for unexplained elements like unavailable clothing materials, areas with perpetual greenery, and dryness without visible celestial bodies. So, what do you think about this intriguing tale? Could Agnes and her brother have been visitors from another world or dimension? Or is there a more grounded explanation that has yet to be uncovered? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe to Unknown History for more mind-bending stories from the depths of history.